Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you who've tuned into what we're titling the IBM RTP Tech Series. I'm Jamie Thomas. I'm a general manager here at IBM in Research Triangle Park, North Carolina, and I'm joined by my colleague, Bala Rajaraman.
I'm Bala Rajaraman. I'm the CTO for our Technology Lifecycle Services organization, and I work for Jamie.
Truth in Advertising, Bala and I have decided to kick off this tech series because we've been working together for quite a long time across a number of dimensions of technology over the years, including application development, networking, middleware, systems management, hardware, and now we're working on the next generation of IBM's client support. But the topic we wanted to kick off our series with today is around something that everyone's talking about. It's certainly in the news, lots of investment. It's on the front page of the Wall Street Journal every day, and that's artificial intelligence.
Yes.
So, I think we're all using artificial intelligence already in our everyday lives, Bala.
Yes, we are. I mean, if you go to Amazon and the next best or the next thing you should buy is something that they make a ton of money on, and it's all driven by AI. So whether you like it or not, you're seeing that in every interaction you have over the web.
Well, I got to confess, I became addicted to crossword puzzles during the pandemic. And so I do cheat occasionally. I use Google AI now to research some of my topics. But when you're finding the clue, the AI actually teaches you a lot in the process as well. But you and I have been embarked on enterprise use of artificial intelligence and some of the things that we've been working on in the last year. And I think what we've noticed is that data governance, data management, and frankly, just understanding the fundamentals of your business process are so key to getting the right results out of AI.
You're spot on. I think that's one of the biggest struggles we've had. And most legacy enterprises have that same struggle, which is unless you have high quality data, you cannot correlate different pieces of data. So you have to not only manage the quality, but you have to govern it to make sure that it maintains that quality. There's obviously governance in other domains like security, compliance, privacy, and so on and so forth. So data governance is fundamental, but data governance both of what you have, but also where you're going becomes really important.
Yeah, one of the things I observed from our own personal experiences is just this idea that, and we've known this for a long time in computing actually, is that you really have to auger in and understand your systems of record and how you're going to get all your relevant data sources into those germane data sources. Because without that strategy, obviously, none of this is going to really come to fruition.
Yes, and I think, Jamie, as importantly as AI is progressing, we are moving more from reading data and presenting data to people to agents that do stuff. And your point about systems of record is very critical because what you operate against is systems of record. So you have to have clarity there, and you have to have the right enablement, whether it's APIs or data quality, to be able to do that. So,
I was just in a forum. I had the great opportunity to go to Egypt. That's another story we can cover in another series. But one of the conversation points was around business process management and the use of artificial intelligence. And everybody was really making this point that applying artificial intelligence to a poor process is not going to gain the right results. So I feel like that we as a team here really started to understand much more about our workflows from a client delivery perspective, our delivery workflow, also our business process workflow. And I think that was fundamentally important for us as a team to understand how to better apply AI.
absolutely. I think the first thing I did when I joined TLS was I believe that an organization is defined by its processes. So you have to understand what processes you have. And TLS has a vast array of processes. So how do we document those processes? How can we identify points of inefficiency? Where can we identify where AI can help either flow the process better, transform the process, or assist the persona who are working in the context of the process? So you're spot on. I think without understanding a process, AI will not have its returns. You have to look at a process. You have to look at all parts of the process. You have to inject AI in the right parts of the process. AI needs to work together across the process. That's when you start seeing.
Yeah, this kind of reminded me, it flashed me back 20 years ago when we were working on projects like WebSphere. And WebSphere was unique at that point in time because it was really fueling business transformation. AI is in fact fueling business transformation, and that's why the adoption at times can be so challenging, because it's not just about the technology, it's about transforming the business. I think there was a really point of excitement in our team when all the different siloed roles started to understand their role in the context of this overall workflow.
Correct.
That really changed the game.
And it helps you define what you're getting from somebody, what you're providing to somebody, how do you generate value across that value chain. And I think that's where AI stops being a toy. It is a point where when enterprises report that AI is not working for them, it's in many cases because they look at it as particular individual points instead of looking at it from a process perspective. So you're spot on in terms of transformation and understanding your business process as being critical to success with AI.
Well, the other exciting thing I think that we've found as well is that in the IBM world, we've been around for over 100 years. The exciting thing is, in the context of hardware client support, our machines have been instrumented for a very long time. So what AI is actually allowing us to do is get more value for our clients out of this instrumentation. And you've been helping with this. We're consuming several billion events a year into this system and this workflow. And we're doing unique things with it. You want to talk a little bit about, because we started with machine learning and now we're in generative AI, but we really started with machine learning.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've gone through this progression, which is we collect lots of data. You need to correlate data. We need to filter data. We need to figure out which data really is indicative of a problem or a trend of problems. So machine learning becomes a very important way to do that. Now, what do you do with it? How do you use that data? How do you inform people about that data? How can they dig deeper? How can they use that data and go through what is called a chain of thought reasoning to figure out how to solve the problem? That's where generative AI becomes really interesting. And the next frontier is, so what can you do with it? And that's where agents that act on your behalf, that keep the system in the right posture, apply proactive suggestions, et cetera, become important. So we are on a very interesting continuum from analysis through interaction through action, and that's powerful.
So I believe that the machine learning has allowed us for some time to do a lot of automations of understanding when a ticket needs to be surfaced and open. And what generative AI has allowed us to do, in my mind, is create the workforce of the future. Generative AI is allowing us to serve up information to the fingertips of our agents, bringing them on board faster and helping them serve our clients more effectively. And I always like to say that we are running the free world here, so it's an important endeavor. We have to respond with proactivity, and we have to respond with speed, obviously.
Very true. I think the aha moment for me was when I was just thinking about what we all do, and we are knowledge workers at the end of the day, whether you're in sales or whether you're in support or whether you're in all facets of what TLS does. And the best aid to a knowledge worker is something that helps them go through how to reason about a problem and to make sure that you're reasoning about it completely. And that's where, to your point, generative AI becomes really interesting, which is it's not a chatbot. Yeah. It's a reasoning engine. It helps you reason through complex scenarios. And we all have to reason through it. It could be a complex support problem. It could be, how do you position some value to a prospective customer? All of that is reasoning.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation with somebody in the hardware unit at one point where they said, well, in 10 years, Sally's going to be proficient here at this job. And I was thinking about when I was a new hire, if someone told me in 10 years you'll be really effective, I would have been a bit disappointed. And so I think this levels the playing field. It's allowing our agents to get at their fingertips information that would have taken them quite a while to compile without this assistance, and hopefully be more effective for our clients. But the other thing I think I'm really excited about is in the industrial world, you actually have to have people that can go out and repair the equipment when needed. I know there's a lot of promise with the robots, but we aren't quite there yet. Yeah. And so talk a little bit about what we're doing to enable field resources to be effective.
I think field has a bunch of challenges in different ways. One, the complexity of the task that they have to perform, the very strict limits on how quickly they have to perform it, the number of chances they have to do it, and preferably a one-shot repair of a system. And these are all mission critical systems that, as you said, run the free world. So I think having all of that knowledge in a form where they are mobile devices or others become important because they're on the move. There's also aspects where they have to plan for how they're going to repair systems. So being able to get that reasoning part and thinking about a problem and the strategy to repair something is really important. And then there's a lot of other administrative tasks that have to be performed. There are policies to be followed in terms of parts and returns of parts and sourcing of parts and so on and so forth. So the role in field and how client management is can very much be accelerated with AI through all of these dimensions that we just talked about. And then certainly there's much more interesting stuff coming up like digital twins and VR and so on and so forth. So AI has a promising future in the field and how it'll make our field the best set of our differentiation.
And they really do have a hard task because with any client, you have to schedule that repair window. It has to be negotiated with not only the IT operations team, but typically the application owner of the particular application. You have a tight window. You've got to get the parts there, the human there, the procedures all ready to go and get it done in that window. And ever since, frankly, the pandemic, I would say logistics has been a little bit more challenged. So getting these parts to the right location and aligning that with the humans is not to be taken for granted either.
Yeah, and you have many options and many ways to ship things and many ways to procure things. And how do you coordinate all of that? All of those are tying back to your very first point, data. How do you get all of those data points? How do you make a reasoned decision based on those data points is really where I think AI is going to dramatically influence how the field folks enjoy doing their stuff at the end of the day.
Well, I can tell you, having lived through supply chain during the pandemic, I think we could have used a little bit more AI at that point to kind of cipher through what in the heck was going on and how should we manage the logistics that were so challenging at that time. Well, this gives us a little bit of a window into a truly enterprise utilization of AI. Any last comments, Bala? You've already pointed to the future a little bit in terms of what's next.
No, I think what I've been kind of working with our teams on, and this is exciting, is the perception of AI in many cases is that it'll answer questions. I think it's much more than that, and it's moving in that direction, which is, can it help you reason through complex problems? And that's where AI is evolving through some of these newer models. Can it be a true assistant, which is it's not that you ask questions, but you tell it to do something, or tell me if it finds something. And then the final frontier is that you kind of give it some broad operating instruction and it goes and does something. Obviously, in the enterprise context, there's a lot of interesting challenges with things like security and recoverability and critical systems. But I think we are on a journey, and the technical innovation that our team is driving in this area of looking at these facets of AI is tremendous. I think in many cases, we are a critical use case within IBM, and we are driving a lot of innovation, working with research, working with our software colleagues, working with the broader infrastructure teams. It's a fun area. It's got a lot of promise.
Yeah, what I learned when I first joined IBM is that I was actually a user of the product I was developing. And so I think it's really exciting to be a user of what's next, to be a user of the AI, because you learn so much from being the customer. And that's been really fun in this journey. And also creating this new workforce, a workforce that's AI literate and really can take us to the next generation of support for our clients.
Absolutely, yes.
So listen, we're going to end today's tech series from Research Triangle Park, but tune in. We hope to have another tech series on a different topic in the future. And it's been a pleasure talking with you today, Bala, about artificial intelligence.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.